Denial is somewhere where you don't want to believe. These people are not that they don't want to believe. These people celebrate what happened in private. In public, they will go all out to claim that they are the victims. This is like a concentration camp guard claiming that they are the victims. So this is more than just denial. Denial is a psychological state. These people are complicit. They are not deniers, they are cover-uppers. Why did no one speak about it? Now, first, when they got kicked out, the state had ceased to exist. Jagmohan was appointed on the 19th of January, 1990. He landed up there on the 21st of January, 1990. The 19th of January, the exodus had already started. When Jagmohan lands up there, he realizes that the entire state apparatus has collapsed. He was ordering people who would do nothing. When he ordered the police to go somewhere and protect someone, he knew that the police would actually then join. He knew that the police would inform all the people that they've been told to go there and protect this thing, this small people hiding out, and the mobs would reach there and kill them first. So he couldn't even trust his own police. Remember, the police joined in a lot of these. Remember, the bureaucrats of Kashmir, none of them were sacked. They all wrote an open letter asking for India to get out. Okay, all of this had happened before Jagmohan had come. There were thousands of incidents that had already happened before that had led up to this. And it was a accumulation of three separate things. The first was the Farooq Abdullah, Rajiv Gandhi 1986 Electoral Pact. The second was what happened with Rubaiya Mufti, who, as per all the internal bureaucrats, they'll all tell you that she offered herself up. Okay, it was all a setup. In spite of intelligence warnings to Mufti Muhammad Sayeed that things were afoot, he went ahead and did what he did ultimately. The third was the ending of the Afghan Jihad. The ending of the Afghan Jihad meant all those reserve forces could be diverted to the Indian Kashmir front. The intelligence warning was there. Everybody knew what was happening on the ground. The only person who helped the Kashmiri Pandits out was Bala Saheb Thakre. The only man. Now, this is very important. After they shifted, where did they have the economic agency? Their entire economic agency has been taken away overnight. You're living on 600 rupees a month. What economic agency do you have to even talk about this? If you spoke about it, you would not get into college. You would be denied your degree because everybody knows how Jayati Ghosh used to run her economics class. Everybody knows how JNU professors used to run their class. They've never audited how these people actually used to correct papers and things like that. If they opened their mouth, they wouldn't get education, which was their only chance of getting out of the penury that they found themselves in. The third important thing out here, 89 Kashmiri Pandits killed. No, 89 FIRs filed. Now, when you say FIR क्यों नहीं file किया, that is like asking a German Jew कि जब SS तेरे को रात में arrest करने आया, why didn't you go to the SS headquarters and file a complaint? So the sheer levels of perversion is astounding. Listen to what this jihadi Asim Ali has written in this ISI front organization News Laundry today. Kashmir Files is not a refutation of majoritarian politics and its consequences on minorities, but its justification. A Schindler's List made with the moral compass of Nazi propagandists. Do you think people like Arfa Khanum, Rana Ayub, Asim Ali, all these people are capable of empathy? मैं तेरे को मारूं, मैं victim. तू मेरे को मारे, मैं फिर भी victim. They are running scared. Because they realize what Vivek Agnihotri's movie has done is that it has set off a movement. Because all the previous movies that came out about this were monkey balancing. If you remember, Rahul Pandita's book did not monkey balance. But when that good-for-nothing Vidhu Vinod Chopra made a movie about it, he completely monkey balanced. And of course, not citing any conflict of interest, that good-for-nothing wife of his, Anupama Chopra, then gets her reptile to attack the movie. And it turned out she attacked the movie without even acknowledging the conflict of interest out there. She hadn't even seen the movie. And then their entire garbage website, Film Companion, that Gehraiya ke liye kitna hundreds of tweets they put out. Kashmir Files ke liye, even when the trailer went viral, they put out one tweet saying, we are using this as a segue to remove all the mistakes in Vivek Agnihotri's previous movie, Tashkent Files. इतने घटिया लोग हैं ये लोग, विधु विनोद चोपड़ा और उसकी बीवी, ये सब जिहादी जर्नलिस्ट जो हैं, जो लिबरल बन के घूमते हैं, इनका पूरा घटियापना अब भरी महफिल में सबको दिखाई दे रहा है. The entire community was constantly screwed over. They were gaslighted into believing that their experiences are not their experiences, that they are suffering from some kind of parallax error, and what happened to them did not actually happen. Okay, and mind you, this was the 7th Exodus. This wasn't even the first Exodus. There is a place in a lake out there where anybody refusing to convert with their janaus were thrown into the lake, were drowned in the lake, and 37 kilos worth of janaus were then removed from the lake. So they have been subjected to massacres for a very long time. So understand, when you have everything arraigned against you, it was like having your throat crushed, where you're not even allowed to scream. It's like being buried alive. If you look at the responses that we've seen, there is absolutely no shame out there. There is no apology, there is no shame. There is only denial or anger at being exposed that this is Islamophobia. Where is the reconciliation possible here? We need to start passing a restitution act where all the properties that were taken away by the Roshni Act or that were sold in distress sale need to be acquired at the sale price at that time and given back with interest paid by whoever has occupied that property since then, because I don't accept these paper apologies even if they come. An apology lies in money. Germany had to pay the Jews restitution. They continue to pay restitution. That has to be done. Money talks. I'm never going to support a genocide denial law because it's a very dangerous, very slippery slope to go down in terms of free speech. But at some point, there have to be financial consequences for those who keep denying this genocide. What was the Roshni Act? They'll tell you that land redistribution was done for social justice. Well, we know who suffered the most, the Hindus. The Roshni Act was done that anybody who did not pay their electricity bill, their houses will be seized. When you've been driven out, how do you pay your electricity bill? So it was systematic discrimination. And remember, Farooq Abdullah brought in that Rehbare something scheme through which Mehbooba Mufti's party was the biggest beneficiary, because she is the front for the Jamaat-e-Islami, which in turn is front for the Hizbul Mujahideen. Yes. And it was the Jamaat-e-Islami's scholars who got absorbed as school teachers and school principals and all of that. So even though I don't think Barkha realized when she called that fellow's father the son of a school headmaster, even the connotation school headmaster meant that you were a front for Hizbul Mujahideen and therefore the Jamaat-e-Islami, via the Jamaat-e-Islami, with your loyalty to the PDP. So the discrimination was in your face. It was legalized. It was legalized apartheid. Only 89 died. Anybody talking about it is an Islamophobe. If that isn't dehumanization, what is? Let me just read this out because it's important. This is by Siddhi Raina. She is Girija Tikku's niece, Girija Tikku's brother's daughter. She has written on her Instagram post, "My father's sister Girija Tikku was a librarian at a university who had gone to collect her paycheck. She was now working in Jammu. She was lured to Bandipora and told to come take her check. Bandipura is about a 6 to 9 hour drive away from Jammu. She was told to come to pick up her check because she was destitute out there. Okay, she had to go. On her way back, the bus she was traveling from was stopped because obviously they were tracking her. It was a trap. And what happens next still leaves me in shivers, tears and nausea. My bua was then thrown into a taxi with 5 men. One of them was her colleague who tortured her, raped her, and then brutally murdered her by cutting her alive with a carpenter's saw. In Kashmir Files, they show a mechanical saw which was quick. It wasn't a mechanical saw. She was literally by hand sliced in half. Imagine being the brother who had to recognize his bubbly who wasn't at fault in this gruesome battle of total hypocrisy. Till this date, I have never heard anyone from my family speak about this incident. My father tells me every brother lived in such shame and anger that nothing had been done to receive justice for my bubbly bua. This is there on her official Instagram page. Do you know, in fact, Vivek Agnihotri has held back from exposing what truly happened. In that first scene where the lady is forced to eat the blood rice, first the neighbor did rat her out. People around saw him that, the throwing the rice, it happened. Then they didn't make her eat raw rice. They stayed in her house for 10 days. They gang raped her over 10 days. They made her cook that rice with blood in it for 10 days and eat it. It was not raw rice. It was not symbolic. She was forced to eat it. Cook it and eat it. Khoon ka bhat. The poor lady is still alive. Do you know that? She's mentally completely addled. Will any of these bastards at the News Laundry or Rana Ayub ever take any responsibility for that, for all the shit they've published? Do you know what happened at SKIMS? SKIMS is Sher-e-Kashmir Institute, which was near Sora. Sora is that hellhole, which is now controlled by a family called the Tiplus. They are thugs out there. But Sora used to be Farooq Abdullah and Sheikh Abdullah's stronghold. Injured Hindus were taken to SKIMS, and the chief doctor there, who thankfully got killed by terrorists for his own perfidy, after they had been stitched up, he opened up their stitches to allow them to bleed out. And all the doctors there, they decided hum nahi treat karenge Hindus ko. None of them were removed for violation of the Hippocratic Oath. The entire Kashmiri Muslim community was responsible for what happened. Just like no German can say, I did not know when the Holocaust happened. Bitta Karate himself tells you that they all used to come out. They used to encourage the terrorists to be tortured even more. Mat maro. You have to torture him more. He has to suffer more. They want to enjoy. The entire community engaged in snuff porn. So let's not get into this, oh, they were innocent. Nobody is innocent out there. Sabke haath mein khoon hai udhar.